Hello, everyone. Back to the Motion Cast. This is our episode number 1. The gang is all here. Our historians, Josh and Brent. Say hello, guys.
Hello, guys. And
Hello.
girls.
And me, the hostess with the mostest, Mandy.
God.
In tonight's episode, our heroes take a stroll down memory lane all the way back to the 70s to see how this all started. Then we'll bring you all back to November 1st, 1982, the release of Dawn Patrol. So let's head out to the Bay Area and live that tenderloin life.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Nice. So, man, that's the first I've heard it too, folks. So
How about that?
The tenderloin life.
I don't like to use the word hero when I talk about myself a lot, but I will for that little line.
we don't need another hero.
Hey, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I'm wearing this awfully cool Night Ranger shirt. It's actually a Dawn Patrol throwback jersey. Brent, yours looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm being like a Catholic schoolboy, and I'm wearing the qualified uniform tonight.
And Josh, I noticed you look good in your shirt. I mean, I make this look good, but you guys look good in your shirts.
Well, here's how dedicated of a Night Ranger fan that I am. Is I realize the fatter I get, the bigger shirt I got to get, which means the logo's bigger. So that is.
Hey, that's a good way to put it,
That's how
Josh.
dedicated I am.
I'm sure Jack and the guys will appreciate that. So let's go. Is there any new Night Ranger news? Let's keep the formula going there. Anything going on that we need to know about besides this super cool podcast getting a handful of views and some comments?
Yeah, that was cool.
I don't think there's anything really new going on out there. It's as we're recording this, it's still the end of May. No new shows have been announced. Really, the best thing we got going on is the activity on some of the members' Facebook pages. Eric Levy is always uploading different clips of him jamming to just all kinds of stuff he's really into. Just some real
Experimental jazz or something.
Some fusion sounding.
It's some crazy stuff. 172 beats per minute and stuff.
Yeah.
But Eric Levy's doing a lot of stuff. And Joel Hoekstra has got a lot of stuff going on his page. And Brad, has got someone running his page. It looks like, but they're posting cool stuff every other day. So that's really all that's going on right now is just social media activity. Nothing really from Jack, or Kelly. So
Yeah, I do love. Like you said, I think in the intro episode we did last week, Brad, whoever's running his social media is really throwing some great pictures out, and I'm loving them. And I love Brad's little, like Brent has his, did our names, Brad has his name in there, and I think that's cool.
And they put it like in weird places, like I don't know. I
Yeah.
think there was a picture like Huey Lewis, he's with Huey Lewis and some guys, and it made it look like Huey Lewis was wearing a Brad Gillis T-shirt and.
Yeah,
So,
I love it. It's great.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, or it's on a guitar strap, or it's on a coffee mug.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It takes me too much time to do that kind of stuff. I'm not doing that.
Brent, you're going to get busy probably with people wanting their names done like that.
I have so many requests coming in, and I feel so terrible.
Yeah, I've had a
telling
few people ask me where I got
No.
mine, and I just direct them to Brent.
And it's not. I
didn't tell them what I
one
paid
day
for.
I hope to make it possible. Because maybe if we start a Patreon,
Yeah.
we'll, I don't know, do it for $100 a name. No, no, I'm joking.
Somebody's got to pay for it, right?
No, and the one thing I do want to say to the fans in motion out there is I'm getting a lot of Facebook requests for friendship. It's not that I'm turning you down. I'm going to be starting another Facebook page. Keep my family one private versus having Facebook people, and starting another big world out there. So don't think I'm ignoring you. It's nothing like that. It's just I've got to get another page started, and I haven't even thought about doing it, but I'm going to try to get on that this weekend. So,
All right, sweet. Did anybody get any new items in the mail or anything we need to talk about?
Well, it looks
Want to show off?
I said it looks like we all got some T-shirts, except for maybe you, Andrew. You got yours at the show.
I actually got mine at the show up in Cleveland, which I was so freaking excited when I walked in and saw those shirts.
Well,
But
that's one thing we could probably say that's new is Night Ranger's website finally added, the Midnight Madness and Dawn Patrol T-shirts and some other stuff. And I noticed they took down all the 2020 tour stuff that they had on there. I don't know if you guys saw it, but they had stuff for the upcoming tour for sale. They've had it on sale for a few months, and all of a sudden one day it was all gone. But yeah, go to the Night Ranger, the official store on their website, and they have cool retro shirts, and like I said, the shirts that we're all wearing, and spend some of your money.
Stimulus money.
Yeah.
Unemployment check money. I wonder if they'll ever find a way to sell that 2020 merch. I mean, I'd buy it.
I don't know if it. Well, I've always been convinced.
Let's ask Eric.
Night Ranger doesn't like money.
Yeah, they don't follow the Gene Simmons formula.
Because if they did, they would have these retro shirts all the time on the site, with different variations, and they would sell the necklaces all the time. And when they release the vinyl, for their last few albums, they've ran 500 copies, and they've sold out quick. So it's just like, run another 500 copies, make it a different color vinyl, and guess what? Those 500 copies are going to sell out quick too. And they just, like I said, I don't think they.
Well, that's Frontiers doing that,
Well, I mean, if I was the manager of the band, I'm like, hey, let's do this. Or, if you're going to do that, write that into your contract that we own, something of the masters, to release vinyl-wise or something. I mean, I don't know. I mean, but Night Ranger owns the logo and they own the tour. They can do the shirts and stuff, so it's not all just a record label. But anyways, go to their website, buy some stuff.
Definitely. All right. Is there anything we want to discuss regarding the Facebook page and the group at this time before we start this trek that's going to get us from Jack and Fitz all the way to Dawn Patrol?
Well, Andy, before we really get into that, I know you're getting ready to leave. If you by chance ever do get to go to Kansas City, I know you're not going there, but there's a group out there calls themselves Four Jacks and a Jill. They've been like at a Ramada Inn there for about 18 months. If you want to hear some good music, you might want to drop on by there.
Sweet.
All right.
Yeah, they are pretty sweet.
I
think I got that from I had a guy from the Air Force, I think, tell me about that.
What time we go on? 18:30. That's like 2 days from now, right?
Yeah.
I'm a fan. I'm a big fan. Not really of yours, just the genre in particular.
Sure.
But yeah,
little homage to Fred Willard there.
As we're recording this, we released the first episode 0 podcast last night, and again, it's just us doing our best, getting this recorded and getting it out there. And we had a lot of positive comments. There's Lisa was giving us some good comments, and Dwayne Vickers, Emily Medler, Mark Greenway, Bethany, Robbie Swink, Barb Harrington. Thanks for the good, for the great comments. We appreciate it. I'm sure if I missed anyone, there's some other posts I may have missed. I was just reading off the one. Thank you as well. Like I said, we're just doing this because we're fans, and we, there's, to show off some of our stuff we've collected, and just basically, a reason to get away from our families.
It's our reason to be, so to speak.
Oh, I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming.
Thank you. I'll be here all night. I will. Actually, I'll be sitting here all night.
I liked Lisa's comment the best. The psych gif. I said that was the biggest compliment anybody could give us.
It is surprising. I didn't know what to expect. I think I was talking to Brent earlier, and I think when I was talking to you, he said that we're up to 95 views, and I said that's 90 more than I thought we would get. So I'm pretty happy, man. It's cool, that the fans are
Half
are
of them are
watching.
Brent's mom, so we got 40.
Hey, Sheila,
45.
My mom joined the page.
Sheila's great, man.
She sent me a friend request.
Did she really?
No.
You're lying. Yeah, she's not that savvy.
Well, you know what?
She is.
Hold on. Quiet down. Let me look into the camera here. Sheila, if you're listening, send me a friend request.
Yeah. Do it topless, Mom. Make me proud.
Oh my God!
All right.
I'm going to bring this back. What I was going to add, what's really weird is it was really hard watching myself. I don't watch myself very often. These guys, it's easy looking at them. Well, now, when I say easy, they're only this big on my screen. So
I'm that big in real life, Brent.
Yeah, he really is. But no, it's I thought the show flowed very well for us never doing this before. I mean, I listened to a lot of podcasts, Decibel Geeks, and what have you, and I think I've learned a lot from those people, but I've still never done it. So I only hope to get better. I'm going to try to get better. For God's sakes, people, I'm going to try.
I want us to get so good that we get sued by Night Ranger.
Ooh, I don't want that.
Oh, what the hell?
It'd be fun. At least get to meet them.
Hey, we will.
Again.
We will get the Fans in Motion legal team on the ball if that happens.
Yeah, Lionel Hutz died.
Huh?
Lionel Hutz died. He was I
was going to try to do an impersonation, but I can't. I can't do a Lionel Hutz.
Yeah.
What else we got?
I
don't know. Is that about it for now? I mean,
well, thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thanks. Stay tuned.
Yep.
It gets better. It will get better.
Yeah, and let us, like I said, if there's a topic I've had a few people suggest topics. Suggest them to us, because how we're going to, I guess I was going to do this at the end, I'll do it now though, is we're going to do, like this episode, Dawn Patrol. Next week, it's going to be a topic we don't know yet, but it's just going to be a topic not pertaining to an album. And then we're going to do the following week, we're going to do Midnight Madness. And then the following week after that, something else. Then after that, 7 Wishes. So we're going to go in order through all the albums. But in between them, we're going to discuss, just all kinds of stuff. Favorite, set list, live set, favorite songs, Brent, I know, is a big fan of Jack Blades' fashion, and he can tell you exactly what blue blazer he wore in '85 and stuff. And so,
damn right. For some of you, I already posted it. You saw it, but there's more to the story that I may or may not tell.
Hey, I may or may not have wore a bandana around my thigh, and I didn't do it because of Chachi.
Hey, you know what? And that's what's crazy is you got to think about it too. Is think about. Anyone, take your picture of yourself in 1985 and how a little bit embarrassing it is. And then think about being them or any other celebrity, and you had a camera in front of you almost every day, and it's out there for the world to see. It's got to be,
Oh, my ass would be all over the internet. Literally, my ass would be.
Listen,
I'd be mooning everybody.
Josh, I'm sure you saw I posted that Rubicon video.
Yep.
If anybody takes the time to watch that, Jack and Brad had some pretty sweet satiny bell-bottomy pants on that I'm sure if they could go back in time, they'd be like, oh my God. And Jack used to wear those big glasses. I mean,
hey, those glasses were cool. They're still cool.
I don't know about that, but I'll accept.
All
right.
His little hat. I call him Martin Briley.
But the Brad's pictures have aged a little bit better than Jack's
yes.
On the album covers and stuff. And I met them, it was 2009 or 10, and I had a Rubicon album with me. And Brad flipped it over, and he was telling me a little bit about the guys in the band. And this was right before Facebook had gotten really big to where you could really find people and get histories, and YouTube had really taken off. And he to me pointed to Jack, and I'm not going to repeat what he said, but he made fun of him right there.
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
And I'm sure he's done it to his face as well.
Oh yeah, I mean Jack was right next to him, but
yeah.
But yeah, so it's it's definitely fun, watching those videos, and that's what's great about YouTube is, people don't remember. Some of us do, but younger people don't know how you would. I mean, finding a Rubicon album would be something you might search years for, and now I could go on my phone and have one mailed to me in a week.
Love it. All right, Josh, you ready to get this thing rolling? You want to take us back as far as you can on with the origins of how these guys all somehow got together and over the course of the different bands and got to become what we know as Night Ranger?
Well, there's a lot of ways you could start it. They're all mostly California, California guys. I'll start, and I'm just going to go with the musical history. I'm not really going into their history. And unless they have private recordings, and that's one thing about this, us doing this video or this podcast is I've started digging into my collection. I think we were actually on a trial, recording when I pulled a Rubicon test pressing out. And I was like, heck, I didn't even remember I had this. Well, I found another one today, getting ready for this episode. My collection's in a few different places. And someone had posted, I'm sorry I forget your name, the Palms 150 album with Jack Blades. And I was like, I know that he's not pictured on that. I'd seen it, but I thought maybe it was a picture I'd seen. I couldn't remember. But actually, Brent, when you posted what you said was the dust jacket, that sparked something you know what, I've had that in my hand. So, but it wasn't a dust jacket. That's what I'm like, I've seen that, and it wasn't a dust jacket. So anyways, I got into another box, started digging, and we come up with this here.
Yeah, that was the album.
Yep. All right, so this is 1974. It's a Christian, rock band. They had a pretty good following in California. Jack is in some of the promotional photos. From what I hear, this record was actually nominated for a Grammy.
Wow.
But as of how much Jack is on here is a little bit, I guess, maybe of a mystery. He is not on the cover. And that dust jacket, Brett, is actually the gatefold.
Okay.
All right.
It looked like a dust jacket on.
No,
I found it on Discogs. A picture.
I would have thought the same thing, probably by the picture. But like I said, so that's how I kind of remember. It's like I don't think that's Jack because of the members here. Jack's not listed. There's a different bass player. But if you look, let's go right here, and I'll try to get photos in there or not. But if you look in there somewhere, it says additional musicians, Jack Blades bass. So his name is on there. It's just under additional musicians. And also, if you look right here, and I'm going to try to get my finger there, you should be able to see Jack Blades' name. He wrote a song on here called, I'm not sure what the title is, The Light maybe. I don't think he sings it. It'd been a while since I had listened to this. I had listened to it when I first got it and hadn't listened to it since. I threw it on today just for the podcast. I'll read you some lyrics. Take me along and Jesus help me through this evil day that fell on me. Guide my hand, cause my eyes. Just because my eyes just want to see the light. The light. It's a Christian rock band. Jack Blades is writing Christian songs. And a
little pre-striper.
And it sounds musically a little bit like Rubicon, a little funky and stuff. There is a recording on, I think, YouTube I found. I'm not sure though if Jack is actually on that or not. So you got Jack, 1974. All right, so this actually is a catalyst because The main guy in this band is Greg Eckler. Greg Eckler is your drummer in Rubicon. All right, so that is how. That is, from what I've seen, is one connection of how they got. He suggested that Jack audition. I don't know if it was for Rubicon or if Greg was working with Sly and the Family Stone at that time. Because I know Jack worked with Sly and the Family Stone. I don't know if Jerry Martini was still there at that not. That's a little bit muddled, and I don't know yet. But I have heard that Greg is the one who suggested Jack audition. So that would come from that band. And then, really, at the same time, you have, and a lot of people don't know this, but Alan Fitzgerald, Fitz, was a seasoned rock veteran by the time he joined Night Ranger. He wasn't the first Montrose album, but he did join Montrose for their second album, Paper Money. I think there's a picture of him in a dust jacket, but you guys get a chance, take a look at that. He was on this. That was the first album he's on. Then he's on Warner Brothers Presents. I think this is the one. I may have a picture of him. So he is right there in the center.
There he is.
Yeah, he's on the back of the other one playing bass.
Nope, that's probably the back of this one.
Oh, okay.
So
no, that's not the one I remember seeing. It was another one.
Well, he may be on that Paper Money one.
Yeah.
And eventually we're going to do episodes where we dig deep into the vinyl and stuff, and I'll, go more into these and stuff. That's a promo copy, by the way.
So, Josh, what's the time frame of those albums? If Jack is 74.
Well, so this is going to... these albums are going to run in correlation with Rubicon eventually. Paper Money is 75. Or no, this is 75 here.
So about the same time. Is that what you think, Brent, or no?
That one's got 20 foot.
So
that one has 20 Flight Rock on it. That's a great song.
This is 74. So these are actually a little bit earlier than I thought. So this is 74. So he's already, an established musician right here with this album. I mean, they're touring right off of, Rock Candy and Bad Motor Scooter off the first album. This is 75. And I don't have everything, but during the mid to late 70s, he's also playing on some Sammy Hagar albums. But he sticks with Ronnie Montrose. Ronnie Montrose then does a solo type album, Open Fire. I don't know if he's on the... I think it's just Ronnie there, but he's on this. This album is 78, so this would correlate with the first Rubicon album. And I'll leave this one for a little bit. So now you got, Fitz. He's 74, 75, 76, 77, 78. He's with Ronnie Montrose. He is also playing some stuff with Sammy Hagar solo. So he's on tour. He's got, a good career going.
Yeah, he's a pro musician, a touring musician.
Then you got, if you're following the career of Jack and Brad, they meet up with Rubicon, which Rubicon was formed by Jerry Martini, who was horn player with Sly and the Family Stone. If you don't know much about Sly and the Family Stone, dig into him. It's a really neat history. Him getting married at Madison Square Garden and all that cool stuff, and some good music too. And really, groundbreaking. You had this band. Like the '60s, a lot of racial tensions, but you had this band, black, white, all together, and very groundbreaking stuff. So, Sly and the Family Stone kind of run their course. Jerry Martini does something different. They were trying to bridge this, funk, horns, rock and roll, and make it all together. We got a test pressing of the first Rubicon album. Another test pressing of the second Rubicon album. Those test pressings would basically be for if I got 2 plates that I'm going to make a record and I'm about ready to shove 100 records or 1,000 records through there, I take one, test it, take it, I go listen to it, make sure the plates are good, there's no errors in the plates, and then you run the other 1,000 through. So with Rubicon, this is their first album, 20th Century Records. You got the a young-looking Brad Gillis there.
Oh, yeah.
And you got that's Jim Pugh.
Yeah.
You got Jack Blades right there. So
He's sporting some Christy McNichol looking hair. If I can pull a deep cut there.
So,
Josh, real quick,
yep.
how do Jack and Brad, do they meet in Rubicon, or do they know each other going into Rubicon?
As far as I know, they met in Rubicon.
Okay.
And by the way, Thomas Holtbrand's the one that brought up the Psalms album.
All right.
There you go.
All right.
You were talking about the guy's name, and
Yeah.
I had it, and I just found it, so wanted to give him a shout out.
Good call, Brent.
Thank you.
And so Rubicon does his first album. They actually have a top 40 hit written by one of their one of the horn players, Max Haskett, who was in I can't remember the band that he was in. It was a bigger band from the California area, but those guys, I mean, they had very great musicians in that band. I mean, actually, probably Jack and Brad were the least experienced at that time. I mean, Jack did have some time with Sly and the Family Stone, but so you got Rubicon, their first album, and probably the highlight of their career is Cow Jam 2,
Okay.
I think it was 1978.
Yeah.
And
I'm going to let you go because I have a question about that show.
do what?
I have a question about that show.
Well, I'll talk about who's on the show. There was everybody: Aerosmith, Ted Nugent, Mahogany Rush, Hart, Dave Mason, Santana. And what's the question?
Does it show the crowd? On the back?
It shows.
Looks like a cartoon or something of it.
I mean, it shows just a little bit of it.
Okay, so there's probably 100,000 people there, 75,000. I had heard, and I don't know if this is factual, that was Jack Blades' first show. Or was it his first big show? That's what it was.
I don't think it was their first show.
You mean with Rubicon?
With Rubicon.
No.
Or first ever? Because, I mean, he was doing stuff.
I think it was his first big show,
Well,
is what it was.
it may have been their first, because, I mean,
Well, I don't know.
They weren't.
Not the band, but him,
I don't know how big you think Merv Griffin is, but they played the Merv Griffin show, so.
Merv Griffin was pretty damn big. I mean,
I'm just
Kramer
saying.
even took the set out of the trash.
Saying back in the day.
They weren't headliners, so I mean, they weren't playing arenas unless they opened for groups, which I don't know. I've read where people have made comments that, hey, Rubicon played my high school, or they played here. So, but yeah, I mean, this is a new band, and all of a sudden they're playing Cow Jam 2. And what's crazy is they actually headlined the second night. So they go on after all those bands. They're the last band of the night. And the reason why is, there's a huge crowd. And the promoters just figured, we'll put this lesser band on at the end of the night. People will slowly start to trickle out instead of everybody waiting till the end of Aerosmith, let's say, and then everybody leaving at once. So Rubicon was the last band of the second night. So they basically headlined that night. But, it was more for people to gradually leave and then to all leave at one time. And they did get a second album. Same lineup. American Dreams. I have no idea what that is on the cover. Tiger or something like that. I don't know. And Jack is looking pretty dreamy there, Brent.
There's those badass glasses, man.
Yeah.
Looks like Santana's standing behind him.
There's Jack.
You have a nice tan, man.
And,
Santana man.
You have a nice tan.
where the heck's Brad? There's Brad right there. So
Yeah.
and the albums aren't horrible. I mean, you gotta like. You want to hear the best playing Jack's ever done. On record. You're probably going to. You're going to get
funky.
a lot of slap bass. These are the records you want to get. So Rubicon releases that second album in '79. The band doesn't take off. Like I said, they had a top 40 hit off their first album. The second album didn't do much. So now Rubicon breaks up. And you have Jack. Well, before that, while Rubicon is together, Greg Eckler, the drummer, who was the guy in Palms 150, leaves Rubicon and is replaced by the one and only Kelly Keagy. So Kelly Keagy is a member of Rubicon towards the very end. He's not on any of the studio stuff. There's really only one photo I know of that shows him with the band. It's not a very good photo to begin with. So Rubicon breaks up, and Jack, Brad, and Kelly, and Jerry Martini, and Jim Pugh, who was in Rubicon as well, the keyboard player, those 5 guys formed Stereo. Stereo was never Jeff Watson or Alan Fitzgerald. Stereo is basically 5 guys from Rubicon. They're playing new wave kind of stuff. There's not a lot of information out there. But that is Stereo, and I make notes. I probably should read them here.
Did they record anything?
Demos, I think, exist, or at least at one time did. Nothing to the public, though. But I've actually asked them directly who was in Stereo. They've ran that lineup before, and there's other interviews where they talk about it as well. But the first gig that I can find that Stereo ever did was November 17th, 1979. So that was at the Palms in San Francisco. So by the end of '79, you got Jim Pugh, Jerry Martini, which is crazy because it's basically Night Ranger, but instead of Jeff Watson, you have a horn player. So they do this for a year. In September of '80, almost a year later, they're still playing a Stereo. All right. Now at this time, Jack Blades is roommates with Alan Fitzgerald. Now Alan Fitzgerald has joined a new Ronnie Montrose band called Gamma. So that has Fitz on there as well. I don't know if there's a little picture of Fitz right here. Right there in the middle.
Oh yeah.
All right. And at this time, this is 1980, that's released. So Fitz and Jack Blades are roommates. Jack is in Stereo, Fitz is in Gamma. September 12th and 13th of 1980, Stereo opens for Gamma. Eventually, Jack and them, I think, decide, hey, this isn't working. And Fitz is like, why don't we basically create a rock band? There's a guitarist that I know named Jeff Watson. So Jeff Watson had been playing in a band just called the Jeff Watson Band. And, he had kind of made a name for himself. I think Eric Martin of Mr. Big had been the singer of his band for a while. And Fitz had told Jeff, if I ever do a rock thing, I want you to be the guitarist. So when Stereo was basically probably not going anywhere, Jack, Kelly, and Brad form up with Fitz. Fitz brings in Jeff, and now you have Ranger. So Ranger plays their first show that I can find, opening for Sammy Hagar, October 30th, 1980. That is, again, these dates could be wrong. I mean, this is as best as I can get. September 13th, 1980, Stereo's opening for Gamma. A month and, 5 weeks later, they're opening for Sammy Hagar. Was there some overlap? Was Fitz not in Gamma at that time? I don't know. That would be someone, we'd have to go check out the Gamma podcast, I guess. But October 30th, 1980, that's the first Ranger show. And they followed Sammy Hagar. They were real close with Bill Graham out there in San Francisco. The guys were. This is a Sammy Hagar ticket. And when I bought it, I probably wouldn't have known much about it, but the guy I was buying it off of said that he saw Night Ranger open for Sammy Hagar with that ticket. And it turns out this was probably the fourth show.
Wow. That's really cool.
So now we're up to the formation of Ranger. Am I missing anything, you guys think, up to this point?
No, I don't. You're the historian, Brett. You might know a little more about that than me.
No, I got nothing to add. I'm just sitting back. I'm taking my lesson right now.
Enjoying the history lesson.
I'm an expert. I am not an expert.
And
I called you guys historians today.
I know more about Night Ranger.
After.
I know Rubicon, and I know some of the Gamma stuff, but I find it's really cool that Sammy was the lead singer for the first Montrose album. He leaves, Fitz comes in.
Yeah.
Fitz leaves Gamma, Ronnie Montrose, and now he's opening for Sammy Hagar. I think that's pretty cool.
I do love the long-running history of Night Ranger and Sammy, which, I mean, they've been playing together for 40 years.
And the Jeff Watson band, I can't remember. I used to know some of it, but they had a history with Sammy Hagar as well. I mean, Jeff, if you guys remember on Jeff's solo album from 1992, Sammy Hagar does vocal scats on the first track. So they've been friends for forever. And Gary Peel, I'm just kind of jumping a little bit ahead here.
Oh, Gary Peel?
Is that what it is? Yeah.
Gary Peel.
He is the guitar player for Sammy Hagar, or was at that time. He's the guitar player for Boston now. From what I hear is those guys basically lived at his house and recorded basically all their demos there. So, there was a tight connection between, Sammy Hagar and the band. And like I said, their first 4 or 5 shows, they opened for Sammy. Here's some other dates. May 22nd, 1981, they're still Ranger, and they opened for Judas Priest. That's the show that's on YouTube.
Is that the one you sent me, Brent?
It's black and white.
Yeah, the black and white. Bill Graham filmed it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
So Night Ranger, they took a different approach. They were concentrating all their time on rehearsing and creating demos, not playing live. So a lot different, setup than some bands. So they don't have a lot of live dates. I'll go back to that May 22nd, 81 show. Another show that kind of stood out, July 8th, 81, they opened for Motorhead. There was a couple of shows in August of 81 where they opened for Y&T. And
it's a cool shirt, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going back to the last podcast, whatever.
Well, I don't think I wore it for actual one. I love Y.
No.
I love Y&T.
Go ahead.
So if you never listen to Y&T, go after you watch this. Go listen to Mean Street.
Watch this first.
Yep, and then find Mean Street.
Another Bay Area band, by the way, right?
Yep.
See, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Both.
They were all tight with Eric Martin and all that. That's all, Journey.
And so I'll talk a little bit about the May 22nd, 1981 show. That's the one that's in black and white. It's really the only recorded video, I think, it's out there of Ranger. And they call themselves Ranger at the end of the show. They, walk off and, hey, we're Ranger or whatever. The video starts at the end of a song that's unknown. I don't know the name of it, but it's a song that was never on Dawn Patrol. Then there's a song called Diary of a Madman, which is before the whole Ozzy stuff. All right?
Yeah. Blew me away.
Yep. So, Diary of a Madman, which I think that's a song. They never mentioned it in the title in the interview or whatever I saw, but I saw something or read something where they joke about Brad at soundcheck, and he'll crack open an old riff from one of these songs they had on their a demo. And I think it's the Diary of the Madman riff. And there's a couple guitar solos, and then another song that never made it onto Dawn Patrol called Life of My Own. And then Can't Find Me to Thrill, and then Eddie Coming Out Tonight. And those songs are pretty much the same. There's a few, they're not as refined as you would have on the album or after they've been playing them for a while. So there's that video out there. Go out and find it. All the way up to November 1st of 82, and they're still kind of headlining themselves as Ranger. So during this whole year of 1981...
Hang on, your date was wrong there. You said November 1st of 82?
Well, they're still Ranger up to that point. Or no, sorry, January 1st of 82. They're still Ranger. I'm trying to find, where did it become Ranger? Where did it become Night Ranger?
Well, wasn't that right when they went to pressing, right?
Well, there's,
That's the story I've heard.
Story. So I've tried to find dates and stuff. So I'm also trying to find when did they record this album, too. So Randy Rhoads dies March 19th, 1982. So March of 82. Now, during this time, to make money, Brad, and I think Kelly too, were in a band called the Alameda All-Stars. Basically just playing, covers to make money while Night Ranger did rehearsals and stuff. And I can't think of the name now, but a musician saw him and basically saw Brad playing some Ozzy Osbourne and said, hey, I think I can get you an audition. Long story short, he gets the audition for Ozzy, and he starts performing with Ozzy. Randy Rhoads dies March 19th, 1982. Brad's first show, and he was on the road with them for a little bit because Brad didn't immediately replace Randy Rhoads. Bernie Torme actually played a few gigs in between. And May 13th, 1982 in Binghamton, New York is actually Brad's first show. So Brad plays, with Ozzy a lot in 1982. And there's some breaks and stuff, so I just don't know when they're recording that Night Ranger album. If it's already in the can, I don't know. Or if they're, recording it in different sections. And if you guys want to, I think, Andy, we had talked about the Rudy Sarzo book.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Off the Rails. It doesn't really cover, it talks about Brad, but it doesn't talk about what they're doing in the meantime and how much time they got off.
I was going to say, the only thing I can think of, and I don't know the timeline of it, but Rudy is telling the story of when the tour ended. So we'd have to see when that tour ended. They were both on the plane flying back to L.A., I'm assuming. And I think Rudy, and I'd have to go get the book to read it, but the paraphrase it is, he says something to Brad, or Brad says something to Rudy, like, are you, I don't think I'm going to come back. And Rudy's like, yeah. He goes, and he hands him like a Walkman or a cassette deck and says, this is what I'm going back to. This is what I'm working on.
Which is quite right.
Yeah, and then Brad hands him Dawn Patrol. Mm-hmm. And they both, it's amazing because Rudy hands him Mental Health. And, so you have to assume that it was recorded Or at least demoed.
Well, I think the
But when did Ozzy's tour end?
well-
What was the release date of Dawn Patrol?
Dawn Patrol.
November.
No, yeah. So Dawn Patrol, I'd have to read my
November 1st of 82.
correct.
Okay, November 1st.
But here's the thing: Brad's last show with Ozzy, I think, is December 20th, 1982. And it's not with Rudy Sarzo. He does a European tour with Pete Way on bass from UFO.
And passed away.
Yep. So
Say what you will.
Ozzy, I mean, he's still with Ozzy when Dawn Patrol is released. And there's an interview out there where Kelly and Jax went and saw Brad with Ozzy, and they talk about how big and everything, the show is, and he's not coming back.
I saw that interview.
He's not coming back. So Brad is having a great November, because November 1st of 82, Dawn Patrol is released. Speak of the Devil, the Ozzy Osbourne album with all the Black Sabbath live covers, is released November 27th. So he's got 2 big albums coming out that month. So he continues to play with Ozzy, fulfills that agreement December 20th, 1982, in Liverpool, England. Again, Dawn Patrol is released November 1st, 1982. Here's another thing. We'll focus on it. The album's released November 1st, 1982. The last show that I can see that's played as Ranger is January 1st of 82. No live shows really all of 82 until the very end of 82. So when does Night Ranger become Ranger? And there's that whole, we printed 10,000 copies of Dawn Patrol with the word Ranger on it, and then I've heard someone say something about stickers. I'll let you guys chime in on that, and I'll give you my opinion.
I've heard the story, the same thing that I'm sure you've heard. Brent, have you ever seen one?
I've been collecting records, in fact.
I mean, I'd love to have one.
That's Dawn Patrol on Boardwalk Records, still sealed. And I bought mine. I mean, if I went...
Hold that up for a second, Brent.
If I went to see them in concert in January and I bought my album in November, I bought one of the first.
Yeah. So are we assuming? Do we know? Do we know it was the Ranger logo?
Supposedly it was exactly like this without the night.
Just had the night. So are we assuming, if you're looking at your cover, that's what it would have looked like minus the night?
Yeah.
Move it to your. There you go.
I'm trying. I know that.
Yeah. No. So I just never
glare.
I never did the math on where
There you go.
how the logo would have looked. Okay, so but yeah, we saw them in January of '83.
Yeah. So I had that album in November. I probably bought it a week or two after it came out, or maybe the week of. I don't recall. I can't go back in the Wayback Machine to find out. But I've never seen a copy in all of my younger roving days of record collecting. I've not seen. I mean, I'd heard about.
Odd that one.
Thank you. I had heard about something that existed possibly, but every time I've ever heard about it, it's always been from Jack. I've never.
So in all the record magazines that you guys have looked at, and Brent, you've been to record shows. Josh, I assume you've been to plenty of record shows and Discogs and all these things you talk about. There's just never a mention of it. There's no actual photo of it.
Anything that I've ever come across.
And there's no way they recalled them, right? There's no way they were sent and came back.
No, they could have trashed them at the plant. I mean, they could have. I doubt it.
But doesn't somebody
Neil Bogart wasn't the most.
Well, but Josh, didn't you even talk? We were talking in pre-production stuff before all this.
I like that pre-production.
You like that? Oh, we're professional. You're in the studios.
That's when he had the Hawaiian T-shirt on, by the way. Pre-production.
Right. But weren't you talking about something? Somebody always sneaks something out whenever they trash things.
There's
no rule about it, but you could assume somebody would have grabbed a couple of those, wouldn't you?
To make it simple, one of two things happened. All right, they printed 10,000 copies, and every single copy got destroyed, or they never printed them. I think it's never got printed because
just a good story.
In almost 40 years, one of them would have popped up. One of them. So.
I hate Brent sometimes. Well, that's the thing. Like, I would love to see one of these.
Well, you know.
I can make one.
You know, it's a unicorn. It doesn't exist.
What I'll do is after this episode comes out, I'll post the logo without the night on there. You know.
Just gonna post. Just gonna post Walter.
Make sure you put some.
No.
Make sure you put some type of watermark over the logo before that gets out as a legitimate copy or something.
Well, anybody could do it. You know, anybody could just take the top off.
I mean, that could get a suit if you want.
But
no, just saying this is. I'm not going to make the album cover. I'm just going to make the logo, saying this is what it would have looked like. You know.
But I don't. Like I said, I don't think it existed. And for those who don't know, you know, they were called Ranger. They had a song called Night Ranger on the record, and we'll talk more about the song or the meaning behind the song Night Ranger when we talk about the Feeding Off the Mojo album. But a little teaser. Yeah. But so you have the song Night Ranger. There's a country band that's been around forever called Ranger. There's this whole, you know, legal thing of.
What are they called? I thought they were the Rangers or Rangers.
I don't know.
With an S.
But so, anyways, they decided, well, we got a song called Night Ranger. Let's add, you know, night to the name, and that's what they did. And there you have Night Ranger Dawn Patrol, released November 1st, 1982. It is their first show is December 29th, 1982. So Brad gets off the road with Ozzy December 20th, and they're playing Portland, Oregon, December 29th, 1982. And then they hop on tour with these guys.
Oh, you have that copy of it, huh?
You wanted the best.
I got both.
I have the.
I got both copies, but I don't need both copies. I need to sell one. But so from the Kiss touring Bible, Kiss jumps on tour with, or Night Ranger jumps on tour with Kiss January 6th, 1983.
Wait a minute, January 6th, right?
Yep, 1983, Lexington, Kentucky, Rupp Arena.
Brent, when do we see him?
You guys see him January 9th. So the 6th, they play Lexington. The 7th, they play Saginaw, Michigan. Always a hotbed for rock and roll.
Look at that.
Toledo, January...
Take it down, Brent. Right there.
Is it
yeah,
visible?
That's our stub.
January 9th, 1983.
Mint looking too.
So why don't you guys tell them a little bit about January 9th, 1983. Just they got the whole story of the last episode, so
yeah.
Tell them a little bit just though of what.
Go ahead, Brent. You're a better storyteller than I am. I just have the gift.
Clouds opened up and the second coming of Christ came.
I heard the crickets were coming. I
just remember being in 8th grade. It was a Sunday night. Never forget, it was a Sunday night. It was raining and it was cold, and we get there and it's our second concert we've ever been to. Our first one was Loverboy in Point Blank on August 22nd, 1982. That date will forever be in my brain.
An infamy.
It was important to me, that's why. But you know, I always wanted Kiss to be my first concert, but I knew Point Blank, Oh Nicole was the only song I knew by that opening band, but this opening band I knew every single song on the album. So I really had some meat in the game, so to speak. I couldn't wait. I didn't know how to act at concerts. I remember the dude trying to smoke a joint and he burned his fingers in front of us, and your dad started cracking up. And but no, it was just fantastic. I just remember seeing them, and it was like seeing. I mean, Loverboy is a great band. Mike Reno is one of the best vocalists to ever sing on a record, but they're not as explosive as Night Ranger. The previous two bands we had seen were not as explosive as Night Ranger. And in fact, I had already, when I was a kid, I thought Brad Gillis, I didn't know any history of Night Ranger. I'd already seen over the summer, whether it was Binghamton, New York. I don't know where that show was filmed with Ozzy, but MTV ran it on one of their MTV concerts, and I was an Ozzy fan, and I couldn't wait to see who the new guitarist was, and it was this Brad Gillis guy. So the first time I saw the video, I'm like, oh my God, that's Ozzy's guitar player.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. Well, actually, he was Night Ranger's guitar player.
Yeah, really.
But like I said, they came out. You and I were both dumbfounded by why the drum set was on the front of the stage, for facing the stage, the right side. Couldn't figure out why that was, other than he was a lead singer, and like I said, we thought the turret was so big that they couldn't put the drum set behind him.
Yep.
And you look at the "Don't Tell Me You Love Me" video, and he's turned sideways on that too. So
Well, and just to add to that, two other friends of ours from our school were there also, Kevin Hayes and Steve Cook, who I would later go on to form a lifelong friendship with both of these guys. And they also are huge Kiss fans and Night Ranger fans.
We were the only 4 Kiss fans in school still.
Yeah, so wearing our Kiss shirts and people are making fun of us. It just started something that, you can't explain it. Just a wonderful journey of music and friendship and everything, and it all ties back to these bands, whether it's Kiss or Loverboy or Night Ranger. It's just the greatest thing, and I also I did want to gloss over, Josh. You
by the way.
You had mentioned Brad's last show was December 20th with Ozzy, right?
Correct.
Peter Chris's birthday. Just saying.
I was wondering if you're going to pick that up.
I've been waiting just to throw it in there. I mean, being a drummer, he was the reason I started playing drums, and I will always be grateful to him for that.
So you got,
and I wanted to be a singing more like Kelly can't sing, so.
How many dates did Night Ranger play with Kiss in the book? I was going to look that up, and I didn't have time because I was at a graduation party, a parking lot graduation, folks. That's the time we're living in.
Yeah.
Sat in the parking lot for an hour to get up to the kids, the door so they could get the diploma and get back in the car.
So
and I didn't have time to look this up.
Shut the hell up and I'll tell you guys. All right, so you guys were actually lucky to see Night Ranger because they were only on those 4 dates, January 6th to January 9th, okay? Then, beginning January 12th, they're in Canada, and they are no longer the opening act. They come back on tour, though.
Yeah, they came back. Knew they came back. I think they only came back for a handful of dates there, too.
Well, they were a little bit longer. January 16th, they start opening for them, and they play a couple dates, 3 or 4 dates in New York. They're in Maine, Massachusetts, Norfolk, Virginia, Alabama, Chattanooga, Nashville, Tennessee, and January 30th, 83, Nashville, Tennessee was their last date with them. So they're on the road with them from January 16th to January 30th.
Another 2 weeks in.
That's, it's not a bad tour to jump onto as your first national tour, promoting your debut album.
Well, I want to say I do consider us very lucky to see that tour, Brent, because we have seen Night Ranger on every tour. But had we not seen that, we would have never seen him on Dawn Patrol. I don't know.
No way.
Because I don't know if they ever came through Cincinnati.
Well, let me tell you, let me break your guys' hearts. Can I break your guys' hearts?
Please don't.
So you guys saw him.
La, 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 la.
You guys saw him January 9th, right?
Yes.
You're not gonna, I already know this. Go ahead. You're not going to break my heart.
Well, then you're not a true Night Ranger fan. Take that shirt off. Off screen.
Yeah.
The next night.
Go ahead.
Dare me. The next night, they play Bogarts.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Mm-hmm.
We were too young to get in. We were too young. We wouldn't have been able to do it.
Bogarts is.
But yeah, I knew that.
Both those yahoos are from Cincinnati, and Bogarts is a small club there on campus.
Wow. I never knew that, Josh. That would have been amazing.
So,
No, I see. The thing is, I've told you, you just don't remember.
Who are you again?
Yeah, I know.
And the album, and here's the thing that hurt them too on their initial album is Boardwalk basically folds during this whole right after the album is pressed. So Boardwalk was somewhat of a new label. It was created by Neil Bogart, who was basically one of the founders of Casablanca Records, Kiss, Donna Summer, all that good stuff. And then he forms Boardwalk Records. They have a lot of artists on there. Some Harry Chapin stuff was released on there, Joan Jett, but then it folds. So Night Ranger, their debut album, they're out promoting it, and it gets to a point where I don't think people could actually find it there for a while. It peaks at 38, which is not bad for the time period, 1982, 1983, and for the fact that it's on, Boardwalk Records and they have those issues. The tour last, the last like Dawn Patrol tour that I could see was September 21st of 83. That's kind of considered the final tour or date of that album. So they play, all the way up through September. And I don't know how reliable it is. It looks like they were playing some Sister Christian before Midnight Madness came out. There is I don't know if I wrote it down or not, but September 25th of 83, they played, let me find it here if I kept it in my notes or not. They played, alright, so Rock and Roll Tonight, NBC. I think that may be some of the...
NBC.
WNBC. When I say it, it sounds like what you're saying. WNBC.
WNBC. Try it like that.
So, anyways, I think the Rock and Roll Tonight NBC is the one that's on YouTube. It shows them during Dawn Patrol playing Play Rough and Penny. Eddie's Coming Out Tonight. But the set list for that show, and not all those shows probably made it to air. They play Night Ranger. They play Can't Find Me a Thrill. At Night She Sleeps, and it also lists that they played Sister Christian, which was written for Dawn Patrol, but they left it off the album. So, and there's a couple other instances. Again, I can't verify it, but they were playing Sister Christian on the Dawn Patrol tour. So it's just one of those mysteries that if we ever had the guys were able to we talk to the guys again, something I would ask them.
I've heard somewhere, Brent, maybe you can back me up or tell how it happened. I've always heard that they actually Dawn Patrol and Midnight Madness were all written and recorded roughly at the same time, and they basically said just hold some of these songs back for your second album. Because if you listen to the albums,
recorded so quickly.
Yeah, if you listen to the albums, they do have a very similar sound. I mean, the songs are all similar in their feel.
I've heard Sister Christian. I haven't heard the other songs. I don't know about any of the others. I mean, if they were held back or not.
Well, when you were just talking about Ranger and that song "Diary of a Madman," there's some lyrics, I believe, to.
Well, it's two lines from "Touch of Madness," just two lyrics.
Yeah, "Touch of Madness."
No music. Yeah. No music, but
no, just the lyrics.
But lifting two lines from an old song. I don't know.
No, it's just neat to see where all that stuff comes from. Where bands go back and borrow.
I mean, on that, I do know that I know they had to send Jack away at midnight on the Midnight Madness recording for a weekend or something to finish the lyrics. They sent him back to Arizona, wherever his family was from, or something to, hey, we need these lyrics finished for this album. So I know they were writing stuff, but, and Kelly, I think, posted a picture of their demo for this record, and I think Sister Christian was on it. I don't think he showed the picture of the song titles, but I think he mentioned that Sister Christian was on that demo. Anything? I mean, I'm going to get into more of the singles and stuff, but like I said, the album hit 38.
Let me. I was telling Brent this, I think, off this camera here. I'm fascinated by how the guys go from the funk of Rubicon to the rock and melodic dual guitar slinging rock band that became Night Ranger. That is, I'd love to sit down with Jack Blades and just have a talk. Like, how did you go from that to that? Like, were you just a hired gun essentially in Rubicon, who could slap at a bass?
Well, at that time, the music scene was changing. The British invasion was really coming on. Then Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, all
but
those
was
bands,
there anything like Night Ranger?
Not to my knowledge. Josh, I mean,
I think
there's dual guitar pans
it's
before,
not.
but
Was Y&T out back then? Right, they were out.
Y&T is a totally.
Y&T's been out since 70s.
It's a different story. I mean, Y&T, they're almost the godfathers of all this stuff.
That melodic sound.
In fact, Dave Meniketti was courted to be Ozzy's new guitar player, from what I heard from Dave Meniketti.
Ozzy wanted him to be this is around Jakey Lee time, I think. It wasn't right after Randy Rhoads, but
okay.
But Dave,
wasn't Mark Torian of Bullet Boys also auditioned for that?
He did, but I guess he wasn't that good for at the time. I mean, Rudy.
If you ask Mark, he was the best.
And George Lynch, I believe, was one of them. And
but I don't think it's a sharp as turn as you think. You're going from Rubicon to Stereo to Night Ranger. And you know what? If you gave me a whole bunch of blow in 1978, I may like Rubicon a lot more. It's a different time period. But you go for, and here's the thing is, we weren't on the scene in 1978. That music was hip and cool, and then it goes to new wave. And that's what Stereo was. And so it's a progression, I think, more than anything. But I get what you're saying, where you go from Rubicon 1978 to 1982, you got these dual guitars, but
But we don't really have any video or audio progression showing the steps from Rubicon to Stereo to Gamma to where we get to. We don't have any way to see the progression, do we?
There is nothing of Stereo out there. The only thing, and we discussed it on the page today, and I can't remember who brought it up. He posted a video clip of it. Young Girl in Love, Jack Blades, the Night Rangers playing that in Japan a couple years ago or something, and he talks about the song being a stereo song. It was a song they had written while they were in stereo, and it was like a new wave type sound, and they Night Rangered it up when they went to that band. So, it's definitely a big step from 1974 Palms 150 to But really, if you think about it, Fitz, he was playing straight up rock that whole time. So, and I don't know much about the Jeff Watson band, but I'd assume they were probably doing the same as well. So, that'd be something more that, you would have to ask them, and they need to write books or something so we know all this stuff.
I know. We should do a documentary about them.
Have you guys seen the Y&T documentary?
No, is it out?
It's out.
I didn't know it was out yet.
You can order it from the website.
You guys, every band should do what they did. Y&T documentary, even if you're not a Y&T fan, rent it. Yeah, go to fucking Blockbuster.
Yeah.
There's one left. There's still one left, I think, in Arizona.
I thought it was Alaska, but
somewhere.
But anyway,
I love documentaries. I watch them all the time.
Well,
I just saw it the other day on TV.
But yeah, you can stream it now. I know they released it there. I bought it on DVD. But anyways, it's great. Go get it. But every band should do it, and this is the time to do it. You never know what the future holds. And what was great about Y&T is 2 of their founding members just passed away within the last couple of years, and they were able to get in-depth interviews with them each before they passed away. So it's just that stuff you can't replace. I want to go into the singles for the album. Let's do it. Unless you guys got anything else. Did we cover everything? We want to.
No, I only wish we had, and I know I'm going to put you on the spot, Brent. I don't remember the guy from Japan who went to the actual satellite field to
I think
get the photo. I got to find that. I want to do that.
That's Yasui Uki, I believe his name is. I know I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, and if I am, I apologize.
Yeah, we don't have it in front of us, unfortunately. We're not set up that cool yet.
I want
but I want to give him a nod.
Oh, hey,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you know the dinosaurs in
Yeah, and Sing Me Away.
that's in another video.
Isn't it like a Bon Jovi or something like that?
I can't remember. It's
Great White.
he's driving in the car, and it's in the background as he drives by. But you can see the dinosaurs and the eat sign. I don't know. I have to find it again. But
Is it Henry Lee Summer?
no.
Was it a Flintstones video?
So
What's this?
I should have brought this up earlier. Rockin' at the hot rock, whatever. It's like
At the Hyde?
it's a compilation album from California, and I don't have a lot of information on it. But if you look at a band called Avalanche, and this is from, like I said, California, mixed, in 1982. So it's right around that time, and San Francisco and all that. There's a band called Avalanche, and there's a guitarist named Jeff Watson.
Oh, wow.
I need to get a hold of Jeff and see, hey, is this you or some other Jeff Watson? But I don't know. So this is probably for Mark Greenway. He likes seeing all the weird stuff I have. This here is an acetate of Dawn Patrol.
Wow.
It's almost metal with a lacquer on it. And so what this is when a band wants to hear basically how does this sound on vinyl after they've recorded it, they can put this in a machine there and make a quick copy and then put it on, take it home or whatever they want to do, put it in the studio, and they can actually hear what it sounds like on vinyl. And it's got 2 spindle holes for the recording process. You can only listen to it a few times before the sound really gets diminished on it. What's weird is there's only 8 songs on here.
How heavy is that?
You can feel a weight difference. It's metal.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's like a metal plate. And
Heavy metal.
side A is Can't Find Me a Thrill, At Night She Sleeps, Sing Me Away, Eddie's Coming Out Tonight. Side B is Young Girl in Love, Play Rough, Penny, and Don't Tell Me You Love Me. Call My Name and Night Ranger are not on those albums, or is on that acetate. The mixes are the same, so sometimes you get those and you can find different mixes and stuff. Maybe At Night She Sleeps, sometimes I think I hear a little difference in it, but not enough to where I could actually say for sure. So that's just something kind of strange that I've come across in my collecting days.
Yeah. Call My Name is probably my most favorite Night Ranger song ever.
Well, eventually I think we'll do episodes where we
Yeah. I know.
we dig into the songs.
Been make a note of that. So when Brent asked me if I could name his favorite song, I'm like,
Oh,
sure
Andy,
can.
I've been telling you for years, Call My Name. I wish they would play Call My Name, and now they're playing it. And
I got to see it. It was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Oh,
And
so great.
I'm trying to find that picture. That's why I'm looking down, in case anybody's wondering.
Well, if you go into the photos,
That's what I'm doing.
okay, it's the first week we were up.
Yeah, I just have to scroll through them all. I'm not trying to look like I'm ignoring anybody.
Yeah, no, I was doing it on my laptop when Josh was talking, when I was looking for, the Psalms album cut, what I thought was a death sleeve.
What's so amazing about the page, guys, is just I love all the photos. I just love looking at everybody's photos. It's so cool.
And we're going to go deeper into the vinyl release, or every release. So
Sure.
I'm just going to kind of highlight here. So if you hold up Night Ranger Dawn Patrol, and you gave that to me, I could tell you whether it was a first pressing of Boardwalk, a second pressing of Boardwalk. Boardwalk folds. MCA basically buys them up and then starts releasing the records under MCA. That's how they become on the label MCA. I could tell you if the record was printed all the way up to 86 or 87. So, Brent, ask me, how do you know if a Dawn Patrol was a first pressing?
I want to get his name up there because I can't say it. Is it readable?
No, not really.
Well, looks like Yasuyuki.
Okay.
Anyway, that's awesome. trying to pull that way back. Had to go through 1,500 photos to find that.
I love that guy. I love him and all, and everybody that posts from over there. They are like I said, they're fantastic. Everybody's fantastic. Everybody does a great job on the page.
Yeah. So sorry to take that off.
Anyway, Josh. Hey, Josh, there's an album called Dawn Patrol. I believe there's like 8 different pressings. How can you tell between the first 2?
There you go, Brent. So,
inquiring minds want to know.
The first thing you make sure you got a Boardwalk copy. And there's different.
So are they all on Boardwalk or no?
No, that's how you can tell,
And I'm not
There's
playing
the Boardwalk
dumb.
logo
I really don't know.
right there in the middle.
There are, and I'm just going to talk about USA versions. You have probably 4 different USA versions of Boardwalk. And that's not counting promos. You're going to have promos for them. But the first thing you want...
shirt is really soft.
The first thing
It's soft.
you want to look at is the very first pressing. Well, actually, I'll show you what the second pressing is. It's easier to show what is actually there.
Yeah, I can show you the second pressing because, see, folks, what happened was when I started record collecting and Boardwalk folded, I took my copy back to Meyer in 1983 because I had a sealed copy of Boardwalk. So I've had a sealed copy since 1983 of Boardwalk, and then I meet Josh, and Josh goes, "Oh, that's a second pressing."
No.
I'm like, how do you know? And Josh is gonna.
Why?
Why right here?
Hold on, let me see what you got. So,
Because Josh is...
take it to your right.
Take it back a little bit. You're getting a glare.
Right there. If you guys look next to the circle, pull it up a little bit. You see Bruce Cone Management.
Yeah.
Little logo right there. It looks like the first and last name with a little tree growing in between it. That is a second pressing.
Sealed.
All right. And
Sealed.
But yours doesn't have the hype sticker.
Does it have the hype sticker? No, it doesn't.
All right.
And I remember I gave that up. I never took the shrink wrap off the original one I had. But when I took it back, I should have removed the shrink wrap because I would have saved the hype sticker.
So if you look at that, there is no Bruce Cone Management. So this would be a first pressing. Just because every other copy afterwards has Bruce Cone Management on there. So you have those, pressings of the first album. Then you have RCA pressing, and you have the Columbia House pressing. RCA. Oh, there's also, we get really deep into it. Some of the second pressings don't have Alan Zint's mastering in the dead wax, FYI. And what that is long story short...
Explain to them what the dead wax means.
Dead wax is the part of a record, usually, right near the spindle, where there's no where the needle would stop, and it's just no songs are there. That's the dead wax.
Your nerd is showing.
So, what do I got here? Oh, the RCA Club. So RCA, you're going to see a big all that white writing above the band's names.
Yeah, manufactured RCA Music Services under license and blah, blah, blah.
So that is an RCA version.
That was a record club for all you younger people out there that you'd send in, you get 10 albums for a penny.
Yeah, I think I still owe them money.
Yeah, and they'd ship you these 10 albums, and you had to buy another 6. And the difference was that an album at that time would have cost you $5.99 in the store. They would cost $12.99 plus shipping through the record club. So basically, they made all their money back on the 6 or 12 that you had to buy. But most people just
and then they would do their own pressings, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
RCA eventually becomes BMG in the late 80s.
That's who I owe money to.
Columbia House was the big one, initially.
I owe them money too. I never got all my albums.
So 1983, you then get Dawn Patrol with MCA Records. MCA always has that rainbow label on the back. And it's going to say MCA on the back. And if you look, the Bruce Cohn management is gone, the logo, but it is in, you can see the print there.
Under where it says.
Yep, and it's in different font. So they basically just added it to the record. But MCA's always got that rainbow label there.
So Josh, I noticed on that back cover there, I saw Sammy Hagar's name. What's he doing on that album?
They just thank him. They
Oh.
thank him. What was it, Gary?
For being awesome?
Gary Peel.
Yep, Gary Peel. They thank Ozzy and Sharon, Bill Graham, all those guys that basically helped him.
Sharon! What?
Here's a.
See, I'm looking at you right now on the screen, Eddie, shaking my head. Just looking at you. I'm going to look back at Josh now.
That
CRC.
That's a Columbia House Records pressing.
Columbia Record Club is what that would stand for,
whatever.
but it's Columbia House to you and I. Some of those, have you ever found one of those with a sticker on it instead of the printing of the Columbia?
Yes, but they didn't. As far as I know, they did not do that until later on. And reason why is there's enough demand for vinyl at this time for them to make their own pressings. When they get to about Man in Motion, there's no demand. So basically, MCA just ships them standard copies, and Columbia House just slaps a sticker on it. So
Okay.
Greatest Hits and Man in Motion is where they start getting the stickers at. Could it be a little bit earlier? Possible, but I've never seen one.
I need a better chair.
And then
I can't feel my left leg.
What's crazy is there's a demand out there, and we'll get into these labels a little bit later. But MCA switches labels. They use a Camel label. In somewhere late 85, 86. They're using it all the time by 87. But sometime in late 85, 86, they start using.
There you go.
Oh, cool. I've never seen that, I don't
Right.
think.
Camel label.
So somewhere in 1985, 86, they decide they're going to repress Dawn Patrol on vinyl. And
Especially price, too.
$6.98.
That's right.
So you get
yours today.
So like I said, if you have a Dawn Patrol record, it could be from any of the year, depending on different clues. And like I said, I don't want to go in too much, but Dawn Patrol.
Oh, you've already fallen down the well there, Timmy.
Epic.
Yep. What country's that from?
This would be England. Oh, I skipped.
Cheerio.
I skipped some of the other countries. Korea. And then you got.
Our friends from Japan. Now, do we know what that's called in Japan? Like the Kiss series are all called something from hell. Is that called something other than Dawn Patrol? Do we know?
Well,
Japan? Are Japan fans out there? Fans of Motion? Let us know what this series is called. If they have a series for Night Ranger like they had.
I think.
What were the Hell series called? I don't recall.
I think some of the other ones may be part of a series. But this is not, because it's Boardwalk Records. And it was that was the only one
in Japan.
That was the only one they ever released. Japan is then becomes CBS Sony in Japan, and then eventually MCA takes it over. So, and there's other variations. There's England, and I showed England, but there's other countries as well. There is this. This is a promo from Japan. It's modern rock action, and it's basically a record that they throw on a few songs from different bands, basically to get that music out there. So it is a promo, and on this it has "Don't Tell Me You Love Me" and "Sing Me Away." And it does have all the bands on the back, and you can see.
Yeah, that's a great picture.
Guys on there. So those were the records. Night Ranger releases 3 singles from Dawn Patrol. Can you tell me which 3?
Andy, start with the first one.
Don't Tell Me You Love Me.
I won't. Sing Me Away.
Correct.
And you going to do it, or you want me to do it?
Is it Penny?
It's about a girl, about a young girl, I believe.
Yeah, Girl in Love.
She's in love, yeah.
Not released.
Why do you folks get a load of this one?
Oh wait, yes, there's something a little disturbing about this.
Well, I'll go with the 12-inch. I don't know if there's a 12-inch copy of Sing Me Away or Don't Tell Me You Love Me. I don't own it, so that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. But this is a 12-inch DJ copy for Young Girl in Love, and I just dropped video feed for someone. All right, we're good. We're good. It's
okay.
Well, I lost Brent. You're back. You're back. You're back. Unfortunately.
Hey!
Everybody watching,
That was one of your 7 wishes. I know it. I'm back.
So.
I'm such a dork.
Oh, I don't know what's going on. It's going.
Is it still there?
Hold on.
Put
Spider.
Put another token.
Can you hear me?
Put another Fenny's token in there, would you?
Ooh. Hello. I can see you.
No, you're fine.
Here.
It's on my recording. It's on my recording, and I get you, and then it falls off.
This is why we have to come to the pre-production meetings.
Right now, everything's good.
Okay, hi everybody.
I mean, the good thing is it's Brent.
Welcome to episode 1.
Brent falling
Start
off.
over?
Yeah, it's only me.
So here are your singles for Don't Tell Me You Love Me. There's a U.S. promo version, and then the commercial version. There's no picture sleeve for the U.S. version, just boardwalk sleeve. Then, and there's different variations of these. This one has taken from the LP Boardwalk, Dawn Patrol, which none of the others have. So, again, I got 4 different versions of what you could have went and bought in the store. And then you have the England version, the German version.
Fits turned sideways.
I like
that. Beautiful.
And the Japanese is about the same. My custom label is covering up some of the...
It's so punk rock looking for Fitz, like Devo, something Devo would do.
Yeah.
It's great.
Well, I got one I'll show you on the Midnight Madness. Like, Fitz looks like he's going to kick your ass in it.
Really?
And he's wearing scrubs, too. It's like, I've never thought you could, mean mug
I think
with
I know what you're
scrubs.
talking about.
He's going to kick your ass and then heal your wounds.
And what's crazy with, Fitz is, I think when we were all younger, it's like, who do you want to be a Night Ranger? Well, it's not, you never picked Fitz, right? But, if you had to, you got to go out in public, not on Halloween or nothing, just a regular day, and you hand someone a Night Ranger album, especially from the, early to mid 80s, you got to dress like one of these guys. You're pretty much going with Fitz. You're not going to the grocery store in your Bumblebee outfit. You're not. You might go with the blue blazer.
Brent's going with Jack. I know that.
I might just go with the red sweater and the black hat. Fitz was a little bit ahead of his time, even with the scrubs. But the second single was "Sing Me Away." You got a promo with mono, and then you got promos with stereo. You got promos with small font and large font, all that good stuff. But it's all no picture sleeves in the U.S. It's just boardwalk labels. Here's actually one with the actual correct sleeve. And then in Germany, you had the back album cover as the cover.
Nice, I like that.
And this is why I like 45s, is they always use kind of different photos. You have the Japanese. And I think a girl on the page had asked if hey, does anybody have this picture in color? And I was like, well, I don't have that exact picture, but I do have the...
Yeah, I remember that conversation.
And then you have Young Girl in Love, was the third single. I don't think it was actually ever released commercially, though. I think it was only released to radio stations. So you have a DJ, this promo, Young Girl in Love. This is a mono, Young Girl in Love. And then this is... It was never released in Japan, either. It was just released in Germany.
That's cool.
And it's a promo as well. And then this is what I think you alluded to earlier. One of those weird things that I saw, I don't know, I think it was on eBay. It was a Young Girl in Love 45, which I had. I wasn't too much interested in it. But it had this promo sheet with it. And I'm looking at it, and I didn't buy it. I mean, it sat there. It was relisted a couple times, and finally I just bought it for, whatever, $5 or $6. And because I was just like, who the hell would design this? And I get it, and it's on Boardwalk letterhead. So here's the letterhead, right there. And it's on thick, professional paper. And it says, Young Girl in Love, the new single from the Dawn Patrol LP by Night Ranger. And no one's forging this just to sell it for $5. This is just something that they threw in this sleeve probably when it was being promoted. So that's the gist of it. But what's weird is...
Great picture of the band. And here she comes.
Yeah, there it is.
I mean,
that is definitely a young girl.
8 or 9? I don't know.
I don't want to think about that.
But
Brent and I have daughters.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, it was like, I think
it's weird.
Half the reason why I didn't buy it, but at first, but yeah, I mean, it's not. I mean, someone's not getting Boardwalk, stationery, and just forging that. So this is something I don't know. When what was the story behind it. I've never seen it anywhere else either. That's one thing I've learned is if you've never seen it and it's out there, you buy it. Oh, can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Some other crap before I... Rubicon 8-track.
Nice.
Stop bragging.
There is, like, if I shake it, there's still cocaine that falls out.
Oh, Lord.
Cal Jam 2 8-track. And
wow.
I think I showed the long box for the Dawn Patrol, the price value one, but I found this the other day, too.
Yeah,
so,
and that's what this original CD is with the original back to it.
So
nice.
I don't have a copy of the special price CD.
And Brent, do you want to tell them why CDs came in these?
Well, back in the day when you had records were 12 inches tall, and the stores couldn't equip the CDs, and cassettes too. Cassettes would be in long...
Yeah, plastic.
Security holders, basically, and they'd stick up. Well, those were just the record slots is what they were. They just put those in the record slots. And so when the format of the CD came out, all the CDs were in trays initially, and then the long boxes finally started coming out. I think CBS Sony was the first one to start doing it with, like, Bruce Springsteen and what have you. And then everybody started jumping on it. And I used to have a ton of these things. I found some in the garage the other day. And, it's great. I remember Mercury Polygram always put out blister packs is what they were called. They were the plastic packs, and if you wanted to get it out real quick, you put the key through the hole where if they wanted to peg it and try to slice that sucker open. Nobody was stealing that, but Kiss never had a long box until Revenge, 1992. But they would put a piece of what would happen is they'd put 2 CD books in, and it used to make me mad because I didn't want to buy it to get 2 CD books. I wanted a long box like Night Ranger had.
Did you?
So there you go. You had to get me on it, and
I took my.
Goes back to my.
I took my.
I'm monk in my OCD.
I took my headphones off. Did you talk about the reason why? If you put 2 of them together, they're the same.
Yeah, it
same
was,
length as a vinyl record.
Well, I didn't say it was the same length, but that's why there was 2. They put them in the 12-inch slots because they weren't going to buy new cases.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh.
So.
But I worked at a record store, so.
Yeah.
Here, I'll tease. I don't know. We'll do a vinyl episode, but a Rubicon 45.
What do you mean a vinyl? That's what we've been doing.
No, not really. Rubicon 45.
8-track.
Look at this, Rubicon from Japan. That's fine, Jack, right there. Look at that. Yeah,
Stud.
Girls right now.
Such a cool
pausing
guy.
That.
Girls all like it.
Yeah.
The girls all like it.
But like I said, there's. But
Wow.
that is.
That's quick. That was quick.
The only other thing I have left is just with the singles. I mean, the singles really. I mean, Don't Tell Me You Love Me hit 40. That's as high as it got, and Sing Me Away was 54. It didn't even hit the top 40. So they really
That's a shame.
didn't have any big hits off the record. They did have some MTV airplay with "Don't Tell Me You Love Me" video. I mean, I think you guys had talked in the last episode. You never saw.
Yeah, they played that a lot.
You never saw
They
"Sing
did.
Me Away," but just a few times. But yeah, Dawn Patrol. I mean, it's held up. There's a few songs on there that I think maybe show their age a little bit, but overall, the album still the sound still sounds good. I think some of the songs have even aged. I Call My Name. There's nothing aged about that song. To whereas maybe At Night She Sleeps. It's a little bit. You could put that in, and you could probably zero in maybe on a 5-year time period. But songs like I say even. And like I said, I got the album.
Play Rough.
Yeah, Eddie's Coming Out Tonight. I got the album when I got it for Christmas of '84. So, and I had it before that, probably on like a blank cassette that my aunt had taped. So, I was what, 2nd grade? So, I mean, I was learning, at 7 and 8 years old. Some of my life lessons I was already learning then. Like I knew, I was on the playground, and I knew right away at an early age that cocaine and women would treat me the same. And if you learn that at 2 years old,
Yeah, you're
at
set for life.
8 years old, all I knew was, well, I got some girls in the playground that are treating me pretty good. What's this cocaine shit I hear about?
Better get on board with it.
Oh Lord.
So, but anyways, that's
what I call playing rough. That is playing rough.
Nice.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's the history of Dawn Patrol. Then they basically are in the summer of '82, fall of '82. They're recording, and less than a year later, Midnight Madness is released, October of '83. Do we have
podcast?
Do we have matching Midnight Madness shirts?
I have it, as I showed last week.
I
Andy
get
doesn't
it.
yet.
All right. Well, we're doing it 2 weeks from now. So,
Oh, boy.
so we don't know what next week's episode is going to be. We're not going to do the album, though. We're going to be a little bit loose, because this is almost like a homework assignment. There's people out there, their brains are fried, and like, fuck, is it Boardwalk? Is it MCA? Is that small font?
Yeah.
I don't fucking know. I need a beer.
Yeah.
Now, what I want to know is, I want to know who the first band was signed to Boardwalk.
You know what? I couldn't tell you that, but I can't remember the artist's name, but Kim Kardashian's dad was maybe the attorney for this dude, and when Boardwalk folded, he bought those masters. There's a Kardashian fucking something. And Boardwalk came back. Neil Bogart's son, I think, Started Boardwalk Records again in 2016. I don't know anything about it more than that.
Well, they also brought back Casablanca back because Butch Walker had produced a Lindsay Lohan album for Casablanca Records.
Well,
Butch?
Butch Walker?
Well, and you got to remember Neil Bogart, who we've talked about, forming Boardwalk and forming Casablanca Records. They were pretty deep into pre-production for a movie on Neil Bogart's life, starring Justin Timberlake. Neil Bogart.
I thought Neil Patrick Harris was going to be.
Well, I don't know. I just know at one time Justin Timberlake was
I heard that too.
Really was considered for it. I thought he was actually doing some of the actual, screen tests and stuff for it. But anyways, and those who don't know Neil Bogart, he died at 39 years old in like 1982 of cancer or something like that. But anyways, the movie has been put on hold and production hell and all that stuff. So I don't think it's going anywhere.
Well, I thought it was interesting, because I had told Andy this a couple of years ago. I had made the Kiss connection to Night Ranger. Because Kiss was the first band signed to Casablanca Records. Neil Bogart. Neil Bogart had Boardwalk Records, signs Night Ranger. Night Ranger opens for Kiss.
Yeah.
And we always wondered if there was some reason, if Night Ranger was hooked up with Kiss because of Neil Bogart.
I don't think Night Ranger was the first band signed.
Or it was just a coincidence.
Boardwalk.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like when we saw them on tour.
Yeah.
We were wondering if maybe they did that as a favor to that record company. Who knows?
Yeah. It could have been definitely a favor, especially if you look at some of the other acts and see if there's other acts from Boardwalk that were opening for Kiss.
Well, we have to go through that thing. I don't know who the Plasmatics were with.
Well,
Motley Crue was local band that opened for them.
There are bands like around the same time. I'm just going to name a couple that I don't know who they are. So Night Ranger's opening for them. The week earlier, there's a band called Why on Earth opening up for Kiss in Terre Haute, Indiana. There's a band called the Defectors opening January 4th. So,
they might have been local bands.
True, but I'm saying that there's if you just Google or eBay Boardwalk Records, there's a lot of bands on Boardwalk that I've never heard of. So, yeah, it could be a connection where they, but
could have been,
or it could have been. I don't know if it was really much of a pay to play, but they may have, said, hey, we'll actually pay you guys basically to throw them on tour with you.
Kiss would have taken the money back then, and then they come back around full circle with Kisses under Doc McGee, and the Night Ranger came back, signed with Doc McGee for a few records, and they did the Kiss Cruise, which would have been great. Andy, and Josh to both go see that Kiss Cruise to see Night Ranger play a couple shows on that.
I heard rumblings. I've never been able to confirm it or anything like that. Night Ranger was supposed to be the third band on the Kiss Def Leppard.
That's true, and when they fell out of McGee management, I think that's when that fell apart.
Well, I heard it was more money wise.
Oh,
but
I remember, that was announced because I was so excited.
Yeah, it would have been a great show.
But they don't need Night Ranger to sell those tickets.
No.
Night Ranger, from what I heard, wasn't going to be making any money. Now you get the exposure, but at this point, if you're going to go see Night Ranger, you're going to go see Night Ranger, whether you go, and if they're the third band, the opening band, it's still daylight out. The only people really sticking, going there to see Night Ranger that early are the people that would probably go see Night Ranger to begin with. So
all of us,
the three of us,
all of you out there,
So I don't think, I think it was more. I mean, I've heard it was a money thing. I don't know, but But anyways, there's another time they could have possibly
opened, that would have been fantastic
for Kiss. So but
does that wrap it up?
Any other things for Dawn Patrol? The only thing else I got is, like I said, I'm going to throw some new music out there on some of these episodes, just for those who like to listen to some new stuff. I don't know if you guys have gotten this yet. New Revenge. Has this Yahoo on there?
Oh, no way.
Right.
Ripper
It has
Owens.
Ripper Owens from Judas Priest. It has Rudy Sarzo from Everybody's Band and James Kotak. Even though I don't know.
Scorpions from Kingdom Come, from Warrant. He played for Warrant when they were on CMC Records. And did you know that, Andy? He's on the Ultraphobic album.
Yeah, I something.
And
is
whatever
clicking
else
in my
Belly to Belly, I think.
Yeah, I think you're. Boy, look at you pulling out some Warrant.
Hey, I'm big talking.
But
I just talk a lot.
anyways, the album is really good. I was quite surprised. So
I'm making him laugh. Making Josh not laugh, but Andy laugh.
That was a good pull.
I'm on it tonight.
That's good.
You know, we were thinking about things we could call this episode, and at first I was thinking about Dawn Pod Troll, but now I'm kind of thinking about calling it At Night We Talk.
Yeah.
At Night We Speak. At Night We Speak, because it's 10:39 our time.
That's pretty good.
But now I think I'm gonna make graphics for Dawn Pod Troll. What do you all think?
I love the puns, man. I think it's great.
We're gonna do it until we're gonna milk that baby until there's no milk left on what we can.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, remember the names I had come up with?
Yeah.
Pod Me Where It Hurts, and
yeah.
God, they were some good ones in there.
I
little puns.
I laughed at them all. They all make me laugh. I'm a silly
Pod
boy.
Me Where It Hurts. I really like that one. And of course, when we do the Midnight Madness, it will be Pot of Madness. It has
Pot
to
of
be.
Madness.
So, folks, there's going to be a lot of really bad titles coming your way.
Yeah, we can't help it.
With
We really
great
can't.
content. The content's always going to be great. Josh is always going to have something to show because that's it for me. Sealed Dawn Patrol. I've got import CDs. That's it.
I got nothing.
Got a couple videos, and yes, I have a video. And but Josh is a man when it comes to all that.
Yeah,
a lot of years.
Give it up to you.
A lot of years collecting.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm sitting there. I'm getting a history lesson tonight. It's incredible.
If we could just get our hands on some stereo demos, we'd be good.
Well,
Yeah.
Jack, if you're listening or watching out there,
he's listening.
Jack, I know you love us. I mean,
Come on.
how could
How
you
can
not?
you not? I make this shirt look good.
I mean, yeah, he does. I make it look fat. Josh, I don't think my logo is any bigger than it would have been anyway, but I liked your reasoning behind it.
If we all keep this up, we're going to need Night Ranger brawls.
Whoa!
Oh.
Zing!
Hey, I included me, goddammit.
Oh. Oh.
So you want to wrap it up, Josh? Is this the end?
I'm hurting.
What? Well, I would get the Midnight Madness. I think the black with the red lettering would look pretty good.
I'd get the 7 Wishes.
I would just say Neverland.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh Lord! All right. Good thing is, no one's stuck around this.
Yeah, we've
way.
lost
they
everybody.
Yeah.
This is a good way to tell who's actually stuck around.
Yeah.
It's-
Comment at the end with what your brawl would say if you're still watching.
So.
Male or female?
So.
The bros or the bras?
All right. Well, I'll wrap it up for everybody. That's Josh. That's Brent. I'm Andy. And just like Eddie, I wear my trousers too tight, my skin's so white, and I live way beyond my means.
Oh, Lord.
We are your fans in motion. We'll see you next time.
Booger!